How dare you touch me? Let go of my arm this instant. You are fired.
The whole mansion heard the slap that never landed. Sophia's hand was already flying toward Grace's face when a small, quiet hand caught it midair. Dead silence. Even the ceiling fan seemed to stop turning. And from the shadow of the staircase, Victor watched, wondering why his heart suddenly beat for the maid who refused to bow. Welcome back, family. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss a journey into our timeless tales. The slap never landed. That was the first thing everyone remembered afterwards. Not the shouting, not the broken glass vase that had crashed 2 minutes earlier, not even the way Sophia Benson's voice could cut through 3 floors of marble and still sound sweet to the cameras outside. Whoa. They remembered the slap that never landed. Sophia's hand was already high in the air, palm open, gold bracelets flashing under the giant crystal chandelier. Her red Ankara gown, the one that cost more than most people's yearly salary, now carried a white bleach mark on the hem. She had seen the mark and lost her mind. "You useless girl," she screamed, turning on the newest maid. "Do you know how much this dress costs? Do you? You village rat." The parlor went dead quiet. Cooks froze in the doorway with trays of small chops. Gardeners who had come in to water the indoor palms stood like statues. Even the ceiling fans seemed to slow down. Everyone knew the routine. When Sophia raised her hand, somebody's cheek caught fire. It had happened to Blessing last month, to Joy the month before, to at least 7 girls in the last 2 years. They all left the same day with swollen faces and envelope money to keep quiet. Today the hand was aimed at Grace Ease, the new girl who had only been in the mansion 3 weeks. Grace was small, quiet, skin like fresh palm oil, eyes always looking like she was praying even when her mouth stayed shut. She had come from a village near Owerri with one gonna-must-go bag and a sick mother waiting for medicine money. Grace did not move back. She did not cry. She did not even close her eyes. When Sophia's hand came flying down, Grace's own hand moved, quick like a snake that had been sleeping but never really asleep. Her fingers closed around Sophia's wrist and held it there, in mid-air, like a photograph nobody dared take. Time stop. Sophia's eyes opened wide. What do you think you are doing?" Her voice came out small, almost funny, like a child that just discovered her toy was broken. Grace's grip did not shake. Her voice was soft, but every person in the room heard it clearly because the whole house had gone quiet enough to hear a needle drop on Ankara. "I know who you are, madam," Grace said in calm, beautiful English. "But I also know who I am." Somebody at the back gasped. One of the drivers dropped his phone. The head cook, Mom Ngozi, put her hand over her mouth and started praying in Igbo under her breath. Sophia tried to pull her hand away. Did not move. Grace was not squeezing hard, but her hold was steady, like the kind of somebody who had carried firewood on her head since she was 7, who had fetched water from the stream when the harmattan cracked her feet open. That kind of strength does not make noise. Just stays. Sophia's face turned red. "Let go of me this minute. Do you know who I am? I will send you back to that your dirty village today." Grace still did not raise her voice. "Yes, ma, and me. But not with your hand on my face." And that was when he saw it. Victor Owen-Okeke, the owner of the house, the man every newspaper in Nigeria called the gentle billionaire, stood at the top of the marble staircase. He had come back early from Abuja, removed his suit jacket in the car, and walked in quietly through the side door because he wanted to surprise Sophia with the new diamond earrings in his pocket. He heard the shouting first. Then he turned the corner and saw everything. His fiancée's hand trapped in the air by a maid he had only nodded to twice in 3 weeks. Victor did not move. He did not call out. He just stood there in his white shirt, sleeves rolled, and felt something shift inside his chest like a key turning in a lock he did not know was there. Sophia finally yanked her hand free and stepped back, breathing hard. "You!" She pointed at Grace with a shaking finger. "Pack your things. You are leaving this house now." Grace only bowed her head a little. "Yes, ma." But before Sophia could enjoy her small victory, A voice came from the top of the stairs, quiet but heavy enough to make every head turn. There will be no packing today. Victor started walking down the stairs slowly. His Italian shoes made no sound on the marble, but every step felt like drumbeat. Sophia spun around. Her angry face changed in 1 second to sugar. Baby, you're back early. This stupid girl ruined my dress and then. Victor reached the bottom step. He looked at Sophia for a long moment, then at Grace, then back at Sophia. He did not raise his voice. He never did. Grace will not leave, he said. And nobody will raise hand on anybody again in this house. Sophia opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. Victor, you don't understand. I understand plenty, he said. His eyes moved to the bleach mark on the dress. It is only cloth. The workers looked at the back, started looking at each other. In 2 years, nobody had ever heard Victor speak to Sophia like this. Not once. Sophia forced a laugh. Darling, you are tired from the flight. Let me handle the staff. This is what I do when you are away. Victor looked at her, the workers, at the fear still hanging in the air like smoke. Then he looked at Grace. She was standing straight now, hands folded in front of her, eyes on the floor, but her shoulders were not shaking. What is your name again? He asked her gently. Grace Ease, sir. Grace, he repeated like he was tasting the word. Welcome to the house. Grace raised her eyes for the first time. They were red at the edges but dry. Thank you, sir. Sophia's smile fell clean off her face. Victor turned to her. We will talk upstairs. Now. He started walking toward his private wing. Sophia followed, heels clicking fast, already explaining, already crying small pretty tears that worked on him before. But this time as Victor passed Grace, he paused. Thank you, he said so low only she heard. Grace only nodded once. When the two of them disappeared upstairs, the parlor exploded into whispers. Mama Ngozi rushed to Grace and hugged her tight. My daughter, you have put fire in tiger mouth today. Grace let out one shaky breath. Auntie, I only did what my mama taught me. Nobody born of woman will slap me and go free. But deep inside, Grace's heart was beating loud. Because the moment Sophia's wrist touched her hand, something else had happened. Sophia's pocket had buzzed. A message had flashed on the screen for half a second before she quickly pressed the phone to her side. Grace saw it. Only one line, but it froze her more than the almost slap. The village boy has entered Lagos. Kill the plan if he reaches the house. Grace did not know who the village boy was. But something told her very soon the whole house would know. Because some debts are buried in village soil, and when the harmattan wind blows hard enough, even the richest mansion in Lekki cannot stop the dust from rising. And the dust was coming. That night the mansion did not sleep. The big generator hummed outside, but inside the corridors felt colder than usual. Even the Christmas lights Sophia had forced the staff to leave up since February looked tired, blinking without joy. Victor sat in his study till 3 a.m. He had sent Sophia to the guest wing with a quiet, I need space tonight. She had cried, begged, even tried to kiss him, but for the first time in 2 years he had closed the door without letting her in. Now he sat with only a glass of water and the memory of a small hand stopping a slap in mid-air. He called Mama Ngozi, the head cook, the one person who had worked for his late mother. She came in her night wrapper and head tie, eyes already red from crying. Sit down, Mama, Victor said gently. She sat. Tell me the truth, he said. All of it. Mama Ngozi looked at the floor for a long time. Then she started talking. Quietly at first, then faster like someone who had carried heavy load too long. She told him how Sophia slapped Blessing until the girl's lip split because the pepper soup was too spicy. How Sophia poured food on Joy's head because the jollof was too red. How she once locked a gardener outside in the rain for 3 hours because one flower pot was crooked. How she made the drivers kneel in the sun for forgetting to warm water in her car. How every month at least one worker left with swollen face and envelope money. Victor listened without moving. When Mom Ngozi finished, her wrapper was wet with tears. "Why did nobody tell me?" he asked, voice shaking small. Mom Ngozi gave a sad laugh. "Oga, you are always traveling. And when you are here, Madam cries beautiful tears and you believe her. We love this job, sir. We send children to school with this money. We swallow the slap." Victor closed his eyes. "No more swallowing," he said. "From today, no more." He sent Mom Ngozi back to bed with extra money and a promise. Then he walked the quiet house himself, barefoot, like his mother used to do when she was thinking. He passed the staff quarters, heard soft crying behind some doors, and felt shame crawl up his back like harmattan cold. At the far end of the corridor, one door was still open with dim light. Grace's room. She was sitting on the small bed, pressing phone to her ear, speaking low in Igbo. "Yes, Daniel, I saw the message on her phone." "No, she does not know I saw." "Cousin, calm down. I'm safe. But the man here, the Oga, he is not like her." "Yes, I will be careful. Send my love to Mama. I will send the medicine money next week." Victor stepped back into shadow so she would not see him. When she ended the call, she looked straight at where he stood, even though it was dark. "Sir," she called softly. He stepped out. "Sorry. I did not mean to spy." Grace stood up quickly and greeted him properly. "Good evening, sir. Or good morning now." Victor smiled small. "You cannot sleep too." She shook her head. "Too much happening in one day." He looked around the tiny room. One mattress, one standing fan, one small Bible on the table, one picture of an old woman pinned to the wall with cello tape. "This room is too small," he said. "Tomorrow you move to the bigger one near Auntie Rose." Grace's eyes widened. "Sir, no, I am fine here." "It is not favor," he cut in gently. "It is correction. For everything you suffered today." Grace looked down. "I did not suffer, sir. I only refused to be suffering." Victor felt his chest tighten again. "Grace, can I ask you something?" "Yes, sir." "Why did you come to Lagos?" She was quiet for some seconds. Then she answered, "My mother has sugar sickness. The village clinic finished her medicine. I finished secondary school, no money for university yet. So I came to work, send money home, save small. That is all." Victor nodded slowly. "Your mother raised you well." Grace smiled for the first time. It was small, but it changed her whole face. "She raised me with plenty beating and plenty love. Both of them taught me something." Victor laughed quietly. Then he said good night and left. But he did not go far. He stood outside her door a long time thinking. The next morning, Sophia woke up ready for war. She wore white lace, full makeup at 7 a.m., perfume strong enough to kill mosquito. She gathered all the staff in the big parlor again. "This girl," she pointed at Grace, "is leaving today. I have spoken." The workers looked at their feet. Nobody wanted to lose their job, but nobody wanted Grace to go either. Grace only stood quiet, bag already packed small, waiting. Then Auntie Rose walked in. 70 years old, small like a bird, but when she entered a room everybody straightened their back. She was Victor's mother's best friend from primary school, the only person with spare key to every safe in the house. "Sophia, my daughter," Auntie Rose said in her sweet old woman voice that could turn to iron in 1 second. "Who gave you power to sack person inside this house?" Sophia forced smile. "Auntie, good morning. This is small staff matter." "Staff matter is my matter," Auntie Rose cut in. "And Victor matter is my matter. You are guest here until wedding. Guest does not sack." Sophia's smile fell. "Auntie, she disrespected me." Auntie Rose turned to Grace. "Did you disrespect?" Grace answered clear. "I stopped her hand from disrespecting my face, Ma." Some of the younger workers covered their mouths to hide laughter. Auntie Rose nodded once. "Case closed. Grace, go and change uniform. You are going to the big guest room today." Sophia opened her mouth, closed it, then stormed upstairs. That afternoon, while Grace was moving her small bag, she found something under her old mattress, A tiny black camera, lens pointing straight at where her head rested every night. Somebody had been watching her sleep. She did not scream. She did not cry. She picked the camera, looked straight into the lens, and spoke clear Igbo English. "I know you are watching. Shame on you." Then she wrapped it in cloth and carried it to Auntie Rose. Auntie Rose took one look and her face changed. "This is not ordinary camera. This is expensive one. Follow me." They went to the private chapel at the back of the house, the one Victor's mother built before she died. Inside, Auntie Rose opened a small cupboard only she and Victor knew. She brought out one old brown envelope yellow with age. Inside was a photograph. A younger Sophia, maybe 19, standing angry in village compound. In front of her, on the ground crying, was a thin girl in Maid uniform. The girl's cheek was red and swollen. Behind them stood a younger Chief Benson looking away in shame. Auntie Rose's voice was low. "This girl in the picture never came home that night. They said she stole necklace. They said she ran. They said she fell and hit her head. Money was paid to the family. Mouth was closed. Case was closed." Grace felt her stomach turn cold. "What was the girl's name, Auntie?" "Mercy Okeke," Auntie Rose answered. "She was from your village. Same compound with your mother's people." Grace's knees shook small. Mercy Okeke was her mother's younger sister. Her own auntie she never met because the story was too painful to tell. She looked at the old photograph again. The crying girl on the ground looked like her own face. Just thinner, just sadder. That same evening, in a small guest house in Surulere, a tall man with tired eyes sat on the bed counting money he had saved for 15 years. His name was Daniel Okeke, Mercy's older brother, Grace's cousin. His phone buzzed. A message from Grace. "Cousin, I am inside the house now. I just saw the picture. It is true. She is the one." Daniel closed his eyes. After 15 years of pain, 15 years of small journalist work, 15 years of gathering papers, hospital report, witness statements, he was finally close. He typed back. "Stay safe, NWAM. The truth is coming out this time. Even if I have to knock the gate down myself." He pressed send, stood up, and looked at the old picture of his sister he always carried, and whispered, "Mercy, your brother Don reach." Outside, Lagos night swallowed the light, but inside the mansion, ghosts that money had buried for 15 years were already stretching, waking up, ready to walk again. And Grace, small quiet Grace, was no longer just a maid trying to buy medicine for her mother. She was the one the ancestors had sent to open the grave. 10 days to the wedding, and Lagos was already drunk with it. Billboards on Third Mainland Bridge showed Victor and Sophia smiling like perfect love. Instagram pages called it the wedding of the year. Pastors were booking private jets. Tailors in Surulere were sewing Osoabi till 4 a.m. Nobody wanted to hear anything bad about the couple. Money was speaking loud, and truth was covering its ears. Inside the mansion, the air was thick with perfume, panic, and secrets fighting to escape. Victor had not touched Sophia since the day of the almost slap. He still greeted her politely, still allowed photographers into the compound, but every night he locked his bedroom door. Sophia felt it. She smiled harder for the cameras, posted Bible verses about patience and kindness, and cried real tears when nobody was watching. He tried everything. She cooked his favorite egusi soup herself. He thanked her and ate only 2 spoons. She wore the silk nightdress he once loved. He said he had early Zoom call and slept in the study. She even knelt in front of Auntie Rose and begged the old woman to speak to him. Auntie Rose only patted her cheek and said, "My daughter, knee cannot bend for camera and stand straight for truth at the same time." Sophia's heart was beating too fast now. The wedding had to happen. After the wedding, everything would be hers by law. Before the wedding, she was only fiancée. Easy to remove. After the wedding, she would be widow one day, and the whole world would feel sorry for her while she smiled at the bank. So she moved the plan forward. That night she drove herself to Ikoyi, to a quiet bar only rich people know. She met a lawyer in the dark corner. "Speed everything up," she whispered. "Community property clause must be inside. And the new will. Make sure it is signed before the honeymoon." The lawyer nodded, eyes greedy. "It will cost extra." Sophia slid an envelope across the table. "Do it fast. Something is wrong. He is asking questions." Back at the mansion, Grace was now sleeping in the big guest room near Auntie Rose. Every night she locked her door and placed a chair under the handle, village style. She still worked, cleaning, washing, polishing, but now the other workers greeted her with respect. Some even called her sister instead of Grace. One evening, 10 days to the wedding, the sky turned orange and harmattan wind started blowing dust everywhere. Victor called Grace to the garden. They sat on the stone bench under the udala tree his mother planted the year he was born. "Grace," he started, "I have been asking questions." She waited. "I have heard stories. Many stories. About Sophia. About how she treats people when I am not here." Grace looked at the ground. "Sir, it is not my place." "You stopped a slap," he said softly. "That means it is your place." Grace took a deep breath. Then she told him everything. Not with anger. Just facts. Dates, names, wounds. How Sophia once threw hot tea on a driver's hand. How she made a pregnant cleaner carry heavy buckets up 3 floors. How she laughed when people cried. Victor listened until the sky turned dark. When she finished, he only said one thing. "Thank you for trusting me with the truth." That same night, Sophia's fear turned to action. At 11:47 p.m., 2 men in black jumped the back fence. They moved like smoke straight to the staff quarters. Their job was simple. Scare the new maid so badly she would run back to village and never open her mouth again. Grace was walking back from the laundry room with a bowl of clothes on her head when she saw shadows. She dropped the bowl quietly, reached into her wrapper, and brought out the small cutlass she still carried everywhere, the one her mother gave her the day she left the village. City people get knife, but village girls get sense. The first man grabbed her from behind. She swung the cutlass backward and felt it bite flesh. The man shouted and let go. The second man rushed her. She ducked, rolled like her brothers taught her when they played masquerade, and slashed the second man's leg. Not deep, just enough to teach lesson. Both men ran, one limping bad. But when the security light came on, Grace saw the face of the second man clearly. Emmanuel, Sophia's personal driver for 4 years. She stood there breathing hard, blood on her wrapper, cutlass in her hand, when Victor came running with guards. He saw her first. Small girl standing like a warrior over a crying grown man, and something inside his chest broke open completely. "Grace!" He ran to her, took the cutlass gently, and lifted her face to check for wounds. She had one cut on her arm, nothing serious. "I am fine, sir," she said, voice steady. Victor turned to the driver crawling on the ground. "Who sent you?" The man was shaking too much to lie. "Madam. Madam promised us 2 million. Just to scare her small." Victor's face changed. Not loud anger. Quiet, dangerous anger. He carried Grace himself to the clinic downstairs. While the nurse cleaned the wound, he sat beside her holding her other hand like a brother. "I am sorry," he said. "This happened because of me." Grace looked at him. "No, sir. This happened because some people think money can buy silence forever." When they came back to the main house, Auntie Rose was waiting with a woman nobody expected to see. Sophia Owen-Okeke, Victor's younger sister, fresh from Heathrow, still carrying her Louis Vuitton bag, eyes sharp like their late mother. "Big brother," she said in her London accent, "we need to talk. Now." They went to the private sitting room. Olivia locked the door, opened her laptop and played a recording. Sophia's voice filled the room, laughing soft and wicked. "Once the ring is on my finger, small poison in his tea every day will look like heart attack. High blood pressure runs in their family, nobody will ask questions. By the time they suspect anything, I will be the poor young widow crying on television, and every kobo will be mine." Victor sat down slowly like an old man. Olivia played another one. Make sure the will is changed this week. I have the forged medical report that says he has only 2 years to live because of his mother's illness. He will sign anything to protect the company for me." Victor's hands started shaking. Grace, standing quietly by the door, felt tears come, but she wiped them fast. Olivia closed the laptop. "I never liked her, so I hired private investigator last year. Everything is here, recordings, bank transfers, even the poison she ordered from one Chinese website." Victor looked at Grace, then at his sister. "Why didn't you tell me earlier?" Olivia's eyes were wet too. "Because love is blind but family is not. I was waiting for proof that cannot be explained away." At that exact moment the gate intercom rang. The gateman's voice was shaking. "Olga, one man day outside. He say him name na Daniel Okeke. He say he no go leave until he see Madam Sophia. He say na blood matter." Victor looked at Grace. Grace's eyes were wide. "That is my cousin," she whispered. "Mercy's brother." Victor stood up slowly. "Let him in." The guards opened the gate. Daniel walked in carrying only one small file and 15 years of pain. He greeted Victor with respect, then turned to Grace and hugged her tight. "NWAM, you kept your promise. You entered the house." Then he faced Victor. "Sir, I am not here for my sister Mercy. 15 years ago she worked for Chief Benson's family as maid. Sophia beat her, accused her of stealing, chased her. Mercy ran, fell, hit her head on a stone. She died 2 days later in hospital. They paid our father 200,000 naira to keep quiet. My father drank himself to death with that money. My mother is still waiting for justice." He opened the file. Inside were hospital papers, death certificate, witness statements, even a sworn affidavit from the nurse who was on duty the night Mercy died. Victor took the file with both hands like it was fire. Olivia added softly, "The poison Sophia ordered is the same kind they found in Mercy's blood when they did autopsy. Slow poison. She has done this before." Grace spoke for the first time. "Sir, the wedding is in 10 days. After marriage, everything becomes harder." Victor closed the file. He looked at Daniel in the eye. "Brother, your sister will get justice. I promise on my mother's grave." Then he turned to the guard. "Call Sophia. Tell her I want to see her in the chapel. Now." Outside, the harmattan wind blew harder, carrying dust and old cries across the compound. Inside, the wedding gown hanging in the bridal suite suddenly looked like a shroud. And the ancestors, quiet for 15 years, finally stood up and started walking toward the house. The morning of the wedding, Lekki was already sweating with excitement. 3 giant canopies covered the entire compound, white chairs in perfect rows, gold balloons floating against the harmattan sky. For different orchestras warming up. Governor's convoys blocked the road from the toll gate. Television cameras waited at every corner. Instagram Live was already hitting 1 million viewers. Inside the bridal suite, Sophia sat in front of the mirror while 4 makeup artists worked on her face. She looked perfect. Red lips, long lashes, gold gelly tied so high it almost touched the ceiling. But her hands were shaking. Grace walked in quietly, carrying a small tray with orange juice. Sophia saw her in the mirror and laughed small. "Come to beg for forgiveness on the last day." Too late. Grace placed the tray down. Then she brought out a brown envelope and laid it gently on the dressing table. "This is not orange juice, Ma," Grace said softly. "This is truth." Sophia opened the envelope. Inside were copies of the hospital report from 15 years ago, the poison order receipt, the new will with her signature already forged at the bottom, and one old photograph. Sophia standing over a crying Mercy Okeke. Sophia's red lips parted. No sound came out. Grace continued, voice calm like village morning river. "Today you will not marry him. Today you will answer for my Auntie Mercy." Sophia found her voice. "You think you can stop me? I will give you 20 million naira now. You and your whole village will never work again." Grace shook her head slow. "My mother taught me, Money can buy bed but not sleep. Money can buy coffin but not peace. Sophia stood up, knocking over the juice glass. You are just a maid. Grace looked her straight in the eye. Yes, ma. But even a maid is somebody's daughter. That exact moment the door opened. Victor walked in wearing simple white kaftan, no suit, no smile. Behind him stood Daniel Okeke, Olivia, Auntie Rose, and two quiet police officers in mufti. Sophia's knees buckled small. Victor spoke first. The wedding is cancelled. The whole mansion heard it. The orchestras stopped playing mid-note. The guests outside started murmuring. Sophia tried to run to him. Baby, please, they are lying. Victor raised one hand. We have every recording, every bank transfer, every poison bottle with your fingerprint. It is finished. Daniel stepped forward. Sophia Benson, you will come with me to the station. For the death of my sister Mercy Okeke. Sophia looked around. No escape. The makeup artists had already stepped back. The photographers had disappeared. She started crying, real tears this time. Victor, I love you. I swear I changed. Please. Victor looked at her for a long time. Love does not poison tea. Love does not beat the helpless. Love does not hide corpses in village graves. You never loved me, Sophia. You loved what I own. Then he turned to the police officers. Take her gently. No drama for the press. One officer brought out handcuffs hidden inside a pashmina shawl. They covered her wrists like it was part of the bridal outfit. Sophia walked out with her head high, still beautiful, still proud, but her belly was shaking now. Outside, Olivia was already speaking to the guests through the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. There will be no wedding today. The food, the drinks, the music, enjoy everything. It is now a Thanksgiving party instead. We are thanking God for truth, for justice, and for family. People clap. Some were confused, but free food and drink in Lagos never need explanation. Victor did not join the party. He went to the private chapel with Auntie Rose, Daniel, Olivia, and Grace. They sat in the front pew like one family. Daniel spoke first. Sir, I came for revenge. But today I am leaving with peace. Thank you. Victor shook his head. No, thank you. You carried this pain for 15 years. Today it ends. Auntie Rose brought out a small bottle of palm wine and 4 glasses. He poured. To Mercy Okeke, she said. May her gentle soul finally rest. They all drank. Then Victor turned to Grace. You lost your job today because of what happened. Grace smiled small. Sir, I came for medicine money. God has given me more than medicine. He has given me justice for my auntie. Victor reached into his pocket and brought out a bank draft. 10 million naira made out to Grace Ease. For your mother's treatment and your university. Grace looked at the paper, then pushed it back gently. Sir, keep it. Use it to start a home for girls who work as maids. So nobody will ever swallow slap again because of school fees. Victor's eyes were wet. Then come and run it yourself. Grace laughed soft. After I finish university. Olivia raised her glass. To Grace E's university scholarship, fully paid, starting next semester. They all laughed and drank again. 6 months later. The mansion was quiet again, but a different kind of quiet. Peaceful. Grace was now a law student at University of Lagos, living on campus, coming home weekends to visit her mother who could now walk without pain. Daniel started Mercy's House, a shelter and training center for domestic workers who suffer abuse. The opening ceremony had governors, pastors, and even international news. Sophia was in Kirikiri awaiting trial. Her father, Chief Benson, sold 2 houses to pay lawyers, but the evidence was too plenty. Some newspapers called her the poison bride. Victor visited Grace's village one Sunday with Auntie Rose and Olivia. They drove in only one jeep, no convoy. They carried yams, bags of rice, 1 cow, and plenty envelopes. Under the big udala tree in Grace's compound, Victor knelt in the dust in front of Grace's mother. Mama, he said in clear Igbo, I am Victor Owen-Okeke. Your daughter saved my life and my soul. I have come to beg, if she will agree. Let me visit her properly, the right way, slowly, with respect, until the day she is ready to bring me here again." Grace's mother looked at her daughter. Grace was hiding her smile behind her wrapper. The old woman laughed. "My son, stand up. The ground is dirty. Even if you kneel till evening, the answer is still yes." Everybody clapped. The village children danced. The drummers started beating. Even the harmattan wind felt warm that day. Later, when the sun was going down, Victor and Grace walked alone to the stream. He took her hand gently. "Grace, ease," he said. Everyone feared the billionaire's fiancée. But the new maid made a difference when she refused to bow, when she carried truth in her small wrapper pocket, when she stood for people who could not stand for themselves. Grace looked up at him, eyes shining. "And the billionaire made a difference too," she answered, "when he chose truth over ring, justice over wedding pictures, and love over money." They stood there quiet, watching the water flow. Behind them, the village was singing. Ahead of them, a new story was just beginning. Slow, respectful, patient, the way good love stories are supposed to start. And high above, Mercy's gentle soul smiled, because finally, the slap that killed her had been answered with open hands of justice. Thank you for listening to the very end. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and follow for more. Remember, no condition is permanent, and truth delayed is not truth denied. See you in the next one. God bless you.